You don't need to memorize things when you're a programmer, simply because what really matters is to digest what you will need on a daily basis. Let's say, for example, that you learn how to make a request to a REST API. You can use fetch or Axios, and then you're not sure about what properties you have to pass to either fetch or Axios. You don't need to memorize it. You have the documentation, you can simply Google it, and when you use it a lot, then you end up knowing it, just as you know the lyrics of songs that you've heard a lot and that you didn't intend to memorize. You just memorize them because you heard them a lot. And it's the same thing in programming, but simply by using and using again a technique, you will digest it and it will become part of you. And when you stop using it for 6 months or a year, you will have forgotten it, and it's okay, because then you can just Google it and look for it. So is it a problem during interviews, during technical tests? No, it's not, because in good companies, you will be allowed to access the documentation or to access Google. It's not a problem, especially if you have a technical test consisting in developing a simple app or practicing peer programming. I mean, the guy next to you, he does the same. He uses Google, Stack Overflow a dozen times a day. If it's not the case, that simply means he is not a programmer. So don't waste time and energy trying to memorize things. What really matters, what you practice a lot, will become part of you. You don't have to learn each and every front-end library or framework or back-end server. You simply have to use what will allow you to find your next job or your next freelance mission. So don't feel overwhelmed with all these different technologies that appear almost on a daily basis. Simply focus on what will allow you to make money fast, because being a professional programmer is making money, writing code, finding solutions. It's not the amount of technologies that you know that matters. It's the one that allow you to make money as an employee or as a freelance. There is no perfect code. And this is something that should really come as a relief, because at first you really admire programmers who create a lot of NPM packages, for example, or who created this famous app. But if you listen to interviews of these guys, they will easily express that if they had to do the same app now, they would do it differently. They would choose maybe another technique. So what really makes them great programmers is that they are not perfectionists. They need to reach a certain point fast. They do it, and if they have enough time, they improve what they did, and they're able to learn from their mistakes. So you don't have to create a masterpiece when you create a new app, a new package. You have to do something that is useful, that is enough performant and enough secure, that you don't have to create something perfect. And I can tell you that I worked in many companies and I thought that the code would be perfect, and I saw the same type of mistakes, the same comments in the code with temporary things that are still in the code 1, 2, or 3 years later. So there is no perfect code, there is no perfect programmer. So try to improve on every project and every functionality that you program. That's really what matters. Practice, practice, and practice a lot. It's extremely more important than reading books, even good books from great programmers, from guys who created languages. But programming is a skill, so you have to program a lot. That's how you will become better. It's the same with cooking. Let's say you want to become a cook, a professional cook. Of course, you have to follow recipes, but then it's really what you will practice in your kitchen that will make you a great cook. So practice a lot. Let's say you watch 2 or 3 tutorials because you need to learn a specific technique. Maybe you want to learn how to upload images to Cloudinary. Okay, you can watch 1 or 2 or maybe 3 videos, but then you have to do it yourself. And there is no replacement to practice. As a junior programmer, you often feel the urge of understanding 100% of what you want to practice. But no, if you understand 50% or 60% of what you want to implement, then implementing it will force you to do it right, because you will see specific error messages, and then you will go Google these messages if you don't understand them right now. So just as I said before, that there is no perfect code, it's extremely rare that you understand 100% of what you practice at first. There are some difficult things that you have first to get used to, and then understanding will follow. And there is nothing wrong about it. Some things need to be practiced a lot of times before it clicks. Try to practice a lot of micro projects. Your next project may consist in creating registration and authentication. And as soon as you manage to do that, to allow someone to enter an email address and a password, and then to create a new user, it's already a small project. So at first, it's tempting to try to clone a big app, but try to resist this temptation and try to implement a lot of small apps that do just one functionality, because then if you want to create 10 apps like this one, then you will see patterns, you will see what you often use, what knowledge you lack at first, and then you will see how then to glue all the different functionalities to create a bigger app. So often creating an app is like playing with Legos. So you create different Legos and then you assemble them and you have a bigger app. So these are the kind of things I would have liked to know when I started 17 years ago as a junior programmer. If you have other advice you would like to share with others, please leave a comment. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you soon.